Chapter 1. Galileo Galilei, 1564 to 1642. Galileo transitioned the prevailing scientific worldview from one based on philosophical thought to one based on evident, measurable fact. A red-headed, fiery Italian whose presence filled the room, his intellect and pride contributed to trying times within the Church. I do not feel obliged to believe that the same God who has endowed us with sense, reason, and intellect has intended us to forego their use, he said. I saw what others couldn't. Branded a revolutionary by some, I often felt compelled to enlighten others whose understanding was restricted by established traditional thought. Ipse dixit, he said so himself, referring to Aristotle as the ultimate authority, ended many an academic discussion. My sarcasm, often misconstrued as arrogance, wasn't appreciated either. I'd heard the word bombastic thrown at me, but what did they know? I can't complain. Not even over a life punctuated by physical ailments, often confining my activity. My eyesight failed me in old age, too. Need I say how distressing that was? My vision, however, never faltered. The brilliance of the heavens continuously filled my soul with wonder. I felt at home amidst the stars, grateful that God permitted me to wander through them, so to speak, with an unquenchable yearning to unlock the mysteries of the heavens. I was born with a well-ordered mind and a keen intellect that drove my desire for observant clarity, accuracy, precision, consistency, sound evidence, and reasoned results, no matter the subject. I thanked God for that. Across the ages, venerated scientists, each esteemed in their particular field, acknowledged my work, the detail of which I need not examine here, by recognizing me as the father of modern science. I excelled in philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, physics, and writing, and could play the lute with sweet proficiency. I never sought to discredit God or his holy word through the pursuit of science. I observed the planets, but was not starry-eyed. I knew to worship the God who had made them. Born in Pisa, Italy, in 1564, I was the first of 6 children. We were a noble family, though not wealthy by any means. Father was from a line of wool merchants. When he realized my inquisitive proclivities, he sent me off to the Vallambresa Abbey, where the monks had a reputation for stimulating the intellect, especially in the sciences and arts. I thrived in that isolated environment. Indeed, I decided I would become one of them. Father had other ideas, however, and at 15 I found myself back home. In 1581, I was 17. He enrolled me in medical school. Wearisome. That's the most charitable thing I could say about it. The schoolwork held no challenge for me, and the professors viewed my lack of interest as disrespect. They said I liked to argue merely for the sake of the argument, citing my frequent recitation of Horace as evidence. Perhaps they think it's a weakness to yield to your juniors, to admit when you're old that what you learned while beardless was a waste. I looked at things differently. Some might say I never grew out of that childhood inquisitiveness, always asking what, why, and how. In 1583, for example, I was attending Mass in the cathedral at Pisa. Lulled by the professing of the liturgy and gifts, I turned my attention to the movement of a lamp hanging from the ceiling. The slight draft of air caused it to swing, but its swing was constant, even though the angles changed. Why? What would that mean for anything that depended upon time intervals? Objects like metronomes and mechanical clocks? How could I improve them? The practical applications were not far from my thoughts. Unable to conceive of medicine as a lifelong pursuit, I left the university, determined to master mathematics on my own. Even though my decision would entail a sacrifice for Father, a doctor in the family would have brought recognition and wealth, he allowed it. As a composer, musical theorist, and lutenist, he understood my attraction to mathematical patterns and formulae. It didn't hurt, either, that leaving school would allow me to work as a tutor and contribute monetary support to the family.